Good morning. I'd like to tell you some stories and some lessons that I learned on my 40 days driving the country recently. The trip was intentioned with getting to see my grandmother before she passed away. And thankfully, I was able to not only see her, but I got to sing to her in her nursing home before she passed. And it was beautiful, hard, but so beautiful. And also on the trip, I had some experiences, some interesting stuff. On my way back, I was driving to Chicago to see my buddy John Michael, and we spent a nice night having some Chicago deep dish pizza and singing some punk rock songs like we did as kids. And the next morning, I chose to either go towards Iowa or down towards St. Louis. And I was like, I'll do St. Louis. My buddy David J is from there, and I think it'd be an interesting thing to see. And as I'm driving along the road to St. Louis, Google says the highway in front of you is closed. Get off the highway here. So I thought that was weird, but I did, and I'm sitting at a stoplight. I looked up at the clouds, and they were black clouds moving in 3 different directions. And I remembered what that means from the movies. It's a twister. And as I'm pulling into the town, there's hail hitting me from the side. And suddenly I see this guy pulled over on the side of the road, and he's waving me down. He asks to use my phone, so I give it to him. And then he gives it back to me, and I pull off to the road, and I'm like trying to figure out what to do. And he knocks on my window again and said, "Hey, my car is completely dead. It just died in that flash flood. My girlfriend can't come get me. I'm stuck out here, stranded. Can you give me a ride to work?" And I said, "Well, do you have a mask?" And he said, "Yeah." And so he puts on his mask, gets in the car, and I drive him to work. Turns out it wasn't a short drive. It was over 20 minutes to his work. But as we get there, he thanks me profusely, and I said, "Absolutely." And then I sit in my car and I try to figure out where I'm going to go. And as I look at the St. Louis route, it's just red and black all the way there on the topo maps, like full out superstorms. And I was like, oh man, I would have driven into some tornadoes if I had continued driving along that road. Wow. And then I said, well, I guess I can't go that way now. I guess I got to go to the Iowa route. So I guess I'll go on Boring, Iowa, and get on the 80 there. And I'm driving towards Iowa, and like 40 minutes down the road, I start seeing all these flipped over semis. And I was like, all these semis and these camper vans flipped over. What happened? And I pulled over and I asked the guy at a gas stop, what happened? He's like, what, you didn't see it? Like an hour ago, we were hit by an inland hurricane, first in 100 years. And I thought to myself, I was like, if I had not given him this ride and I had chosen to go to Iowa, I would have driven right into the inland hurricane. So because I gave this guy a ride, I missed tornadoes to the south and hurricane to the west. And I don't know if karma exists. I got a good feeling that it does. But this fast, wow, that was pretty intense. And the story continues as I'm going to Iowa. I thought Iowa was going to be really boring, but I woke up the next morning and I had stayed the night at the Iowa 80 truck stop, the biggest truck stop in the world. And I'm doing Tai Chi out in front of this big building, try to find some grass, open space. And I look and I see that it's a trucking museum. And I go inside, and it's this donate if you like trucking museum. And oh yeah, this could be all right. I'll check it out. There's nobody in here. I'm walking around, and it was amazing. All these old trucks, these incredible old styles, the design on this old Coca-Cola truck. I guess their old logo was Liquid Sunshine, and they had blinds on the sides of their Coca-Cola truck, not walls, but blinds holding in fabric blinds holding in the bottles. But the style of this thing was insane. There was also a US mail truck where the front wheels were skis, these red skis. It was amazing. So I was blown away by the Truckers Museum, and I donated for sure. And from there I drove off, and I thought, well, here we go into Nebraska. I guess Nebraska, it's gonna be pretty boring. It's just cornfields. And later in the evening, as I was getting tired, I stopped to take a pee, and I was just kind of staring out into the fields, and I started to see some fireflies. And sure enough, I'd seen fireflies in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But as I watched them emerge, I just stood out there for a while because it became thousands of fireflies. Like the stars in the sky had come down, were just sitting over this cornfield, but were moving. And magic. I thought to myself, I was like, where else have my blinders been in my life and on this trip where I've been just missing the majesty of life because of my expectations and my perspectives and my lens of this world. It's like, wow. And then I think back about a time earlier on the trip where I had been camping in Pennsylvania with my brother, and Pennsylvania had seemed a little bit standoffish. Pennsylvanians hadn't been very friendly. There was a sign on every fifth tree, I counted, no trespassing, no hunting. There was even a sign on a tree that said no photography. So being the rebel that I am, I took a photo of that no photography sign. And I was kind of having this feeling about Pennsylvania, like, hey, these guys aren't very friendly here. It's not a very welcoming state. And that night, I found this nature sanctuary to sleep in their parking lot. They had Wi-Fi, which was nice, so I was able to do my men's circle call from their parking lot. In the morning, I saw their facility. I did their nature hike. Actually, just took a 5-mile run on it, which was awesome. And after that, I'm eating breakfast out in the parking lot, and I see their manager walk up. And he's got this look on his face like, I'm going to tell this hippie to get off my property. And maybe I projected that, but that's what he looked like. And he walks up, he's like, California, huh? And I said, yeah. And he said, you drive all the way out here? I said, yeah, I'm driving the country. He's like, why? It's like, well, I came out here to see my grandmother. She's sick. And he said, and I just saw this like sink in him. He looks down and he looks back at me and says, we have a shower inside if you'd like to use it. And I just felt this, Pennsylvania, I see you now. Got to get under the hard shell, and you're just sweet inside. And how has my perspective and my experience been shaped by my expectations and my stories about things? It's really interesting. And so I'm just seeing this play out in so many different ways in my life. And I'm really grateful to this trip for teaching me these lessons and slapping me upside the head with these amazing revelations. The trip was not easy. It's pretty amazing to drive our country, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to do so. And so grateful to have gotten to spend time with Irene Gordon. I love you, Grandma. Grandma Honey. Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you like this video, you want to see more about the healing journeys I've been on, you can subscribe to the channel and share with anyone that you think might care, might get some benefit from these videos. Thanks so much. See you soon.